Hello, everybody. That was an awesome intro. Welcome to another Create with Maxon sessions. And I bet you heard the news that we just recently update some of our products, and there are some cool updates waiting for you guys. And actually, today in this sessions, we're gonna talk about that, exactly that. What's new in Red Giant 2025? And today, um, I'm accompanied by two of my best friend, Alex, the product manager for Red Giant,
The
and
green
also
screen is cutting my hands.
exactly,
Hello.
and our beloved social media manager, Michael.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. And yeah, before Alex and Michael going to talk to you about what's new in Red Giant, I would like to take some a little time to explain to do just a little bit of housekeeping. All right, the usual thing. Right. Let me share my screen. So, by the way, guys, in this sessions, there will be some scenes that we will be using. And by the way, if you are curious and if you want to play around with that scenes, you are welcome to download the free downloadable scenes by following the link in the video description. So if you go to the YouTube video descriptions, there will be a link that you can follow, and it will lead you into this form, and you can just proceed giving your email and name, and then you'll be able to download the scene that will be used throughout this show, right? And first, if you want to know more about Maxon events, what's upcoming, you can go to maxon.net/events, and as you can see, there are plenty of events happening. And I think today, or if not today, it will be tomorrow. No, it's September 26th. We will be there in Belgium in Us by Night. And also, the part two of Mickey 17 is coming this weekend, right? This Friday.
Yes, tomorrow on VFX and Chill, we started off with a great show last Friday on
Mm-hmm.
some of the visual effects for Mickey 17. And there's some Mickey 17, for those who don't know, is about, basically it's got a lot of clone effects in it. And so this week we're talking clone effects specifically, and we want to see your clone effects. So if you've ever done a visual effects shot where you've had to make clones, especially ones that interact with each other, which is where it gets really fun, the VFX and Chill crew want to see your shots. So we're going to pop them up on the screen and talk about them for everyone to see. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you go to maxonvfx.com/chillbox, you can there's a little section there for you to pop in your clone shot for the crew to talk about. But even if you don't have a clone shot, it's going to be a fun time as we talk about ways to achieve really cool clone visual effects. So yeah, tomorrow at 10 a.m.
really
Pacific
fun.
time.
That sounds really fun. So there you go, guys. That's your chance to interact with the VFX and Chill guys and play around with them and do something cool, right? So, by the way, if you're new to this show and you want to get your merchandise, don't forget that you can get your free T-shirt. And the code for today for the free T-shirt, it will be happy updating. And you can follow the link that we will post in the chat right after this. And the code to go into the merch store is happy updating. So if once you follow the link, you will need to enter the secret code, which is in caps lock. Sorry. And once you click continue, you'll be able to get one of this t-shirt for free. Okay. Right. And if you are curious about the recording of this show and the other show that is hosted by Maxon Training Team, it is always available in our YouTube channel, Maxon Training Team at YouTube. Right. So if you want to rewatch it later on, you can always go back to YouTube. And again, don't forget to download the project demo files for this show, for this session. It is available in the, how do you call it, descriptions, video descriptions in YouTube, right? So I think that's it from my side. And talk to us, Michael. What is new in Red Giant Trapcode
Sure.
2020?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I've been a user of Red Giant's tools for a very long time, especially
Mhm.
Trapcode. I was using Trapcode before Red Giant even had it, so I'm like passionately in love with them. I've only started working for Maxon, relatively recently, so I've been a regular old user like a lot of you for a very long time, and I'm very excited. There's one update that is here in Trapcode Particular that has been like a dream for a lot of years for me. So I'll show that to you. But first. This update in Trapcode had updates to really two tools. One is Particular had a couple of updates, and then Geo had some big ones. So first, I want to talk to you about Particular. The updates are all happening inside the Trapcode Particular designer. So I've got, in this particular scene, get it? I've just got a solid layer here, Trapcode Particular. Haven't done anything with it yet. Pop up on the designer. And it's what you would expect. Now, I know there's some folks who like never work in the designer; they like to stay in After Effects effects control panel. But now that in Trapcode Particular can have up to 16 systems that all interact with each other, spawn off of each other, and like you do all kinds of crazy stuff with it now, I find it's a lot faster to do my work here in the designer window, because you can just quickly access each of the different sections of each of the different systems just all right here. It's a lot easier to mess with. You'll notice though here in the preset section, things look a little different now in this update. It's a lot faster and easier to browse through this stuff, and you can search. I don't know if you want something pink. You could just type in pink, and here's things that are all pink. Like this whole little preset browsing stuff is just so much better. It's a lot easier and faster to navigate through this stuff and apply a scene just like that with a click. Now you'll notice something different down here in this update that is also a welcome addition. You can now grab and scrub this timeline, and I could jump anywhere here that I want, and it's all right, like it's there. Before you could play back, rewind, play back, but you couldn't just grab and scrub around. So it kind of gives you a little more control with what you're doing. But out of all these little updates that are quite nice and quite handy, my favorite update for a very long time is down here in the bottom right corner. You notice right here, instead of just cancel and apply, now we have a save project button. That's right, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. We can now save our After Effects project right here inside the Trapcode Particular designer. Now, Trapcode Particular has, it's quite powerful. So you might be here in the designer window working on stuff and building up a complex project. And I know, like, I'm always worried, is After Effects going to crash in the background? Or, am I going to do something crazy in Particular and accidentally, makes things go awry? I would always have to hit apply, go back into After Effects, hit save, then reopen the designer just to get back to work. And, it doesn't take that long to do, but every second of interruption in your creative process risks just derailing your whole creative train of thought. Now, you don't have to do any of that. You just hit that little save project button right there, and the project is saved. And you go back to working with peace of mind, knowing that all the stuff you were doing isn't going to be lost. It's just saved, easy peasy, just like that. So that is, like I said, something that I've been really wanting. I didn't know it was even possible to do. And yet, here it is. Done, dusted, ready to go. So I'm very, very excited about that. As someone who really likes to work with Particular a lot, that's going to make my life much easier and much more peaceful. All right, so we've got that done and dusted. Now let's talk about some Red Giant Geo. First of all, let's talk about this one here. This is one of the project files that you can download. Now, if you've always wanted to have some gold coins of your favorite Cinema 4D trainer, sorry, we don't have that for you, but we do have Noseman here.
That looks familiar.
Here.
I was almost to say about. Yeah.
Let's see. No, Noseman is one of my favorite Cinema 4D trainers. He's got some amazing quick tips and some very deep dive stuff. You'll notice this is all running in Red Giant Geo. I've just got one geometry of the coin with a little bump map in the material for his face down here, grayscale bump map with the wealth of knowledge bump tiff there driving it. So we get this cool little coin look. But you'll notice as we fall off into the background, we've got depth of field now. That's right. Depth of field is now part of Red Giant Geo. And it's using the same engine that Universe Bokeh uses, which is beautiful and gorgeous. But it's being driven by your it's being driven by your After Effects camera. So if you want to change the focus distance here, we can focus on something in the back. We can focus on those coins back there. Focus on this coin up in the front. It works with your After Effects camera. controls, just like you would want it to. So you can really integrate stuff into your scene. So yep, this project file is part of the downloadable project files. Check the link in the description of this video, and you can get it. So yeah, there you go. That's one of the big updates. It's one of the things I've been looking for a long time. When you're messing with a bunch of clones in 3D space, you really want to be able to play around and artistically mess with that depth of field to get some really stylistic shots. And now you can, which is great. So I love that as a new feature. Here's another one. When you're cloning stuff in a grid, being able to have it be more of a honeycomb pattern is something that a lot of folks have been asking for, and now that is available in Geo. If you go up into your cloner section here, right here, you've got all your kind of clone randomization and clone transforms, and right here you've got all the controls you need to drive your clones. And you've got position, rotation, all the kind of fun stuff. But now you can also offset it, and you get the lovely honeycomb patterns, which is lovely. I've got these are all. I should also point out all these money models here are available by default. If I go here into the geometry, hit choose model. For those of you who aren't aware, if you're not like real big into 3D modeling, or you don't want to have to go out and buy a 3D model yourself, there's a bunch of models in here just for playing with. A lot of nice abstract shapes. And I also saw there's a bunch of currency ones up here. So I grabbed it to make this cool little currency background option here. That you could use for, whatever. I also, over top of it, you may have noticed I've got optical glow, which is my favorite glow effect. I use it on pretty much everything. And renoiser, I definitely also use on pretty much everything. It helps break up, when you need grain or noise to break up banding, renoiser is a very good option for that sort of thing. But yeah, under our clone transforms here, we've got, some other features here as well that are quite beneficial. This one's a good one right here. I need to talk about that. Orient inward and outward. Now, if you've got some clones that are like in a circle, especially, you want to be able to take those clones and have them point inward, and you can do that now with Trapcode or with Red Giant Geo. See, we've got them all pointed inward, and that is done in Geo under our cloners right here by this orient inward outward. You could make that negative depending on what you've got going on, so that your clones point inward. Let me just isolate Geo. Got a lot of things going on. Turn off all those things. So you've got your orient. Ooh, hey, there we go. Now that I got all the extra stuff out of the way, you can orient it inward or outward, which is very handy. But as soon as we had cloners and were able to put stuff in, I was like, man, I want to be able to point this. I want to be able to point them in. And it's great. So all I've got is a cylinder here set to, my cloner set to cylinder, and I've got the count in Y and Z is 1 to 1, count in X. Oh, another thing that I should mention here while I'm in this particular project is that you'll notice we've got different materials on the clones. That's another new feature. So if you go into your materials right here, you can set up, I got material 1, is that kind of pinky one or blue one, cyan, whatever you want to call it. I've got this pinky magenta one, and I've got this kind of silver one. And then in your cloners, you say the number of materials you want. So you might just want, 1 material, 3 materials. If you've got a model that can have just 1 material over the whole thing, you can set up up to 5 different materials and have them scatter through your clones. And under the clone randomizer, you can change your random seed, and that'll change all your random settings to be different. So your random rotation, your random position, your random materials, all those are changed by just adjusting this one little random seed right here. Now to go back to this money shot here, you'll notice I've got different models as well. The cloner now lets you have multiple models. So you've got your first model is the main one here under geometry, but you've also got the ability to add up to 5 models total, so 4 extra here. So your cloning can now be randomly spreading up to 5 different models all over the place with whatever your settings are. So it's a lot of really, really useful updates that have come to Geo, especially when you're doing a bunch of cloning things. Now, there's another thing that I didn't really have a good example for that has been added to Geo, but you can now have 3D models that are rigged with FBX skinned models. So a lot of the, if you've got a model from any place online like TurboSquid or Sketchfab or wherever you like to get your 3D models that has FBX skinned movement, you can now bring that into Geo as well, which is very handy. I didn't want to have an example because we only want to share stuff that we are legally allowed to share, and I didn't have the chance to build myself up a 3D model, but I just wanted to point it out. There's a ton of really good models out there, or if you've got someone who does Cinema 4D work, they can build a model, rig it, animate it, and then you can render it in context of your comp using Red Giant Geo, which is great. A lot of people are asking, why would we've got Cinema 4D, why would you need this stuff? Why would you even bother with Red Giant Geo? Well, it's because it's really nice to be able to tweak stuff and have it render pretty much instantly right there in the context of the rest of your composition. Like it's just very handy, especially for quick MoGraph stuff. Like if you just want a bunch of just random 3D stuff floating around, Geo is a great way to do that and have it reacting to lights and shadows and reflections and all that kind of great stuff. Like all models all cast shadows on each other, and it just renders so nice and fast. Like it's already rendered. I don't have to do anything, so it's great. And like I said, all these features are there now. So if you download the latest update to Trapcode, you can have all these features. And again, all these project files, if you want to toy around with them and see how I built them, are all available for you in the link that is in the description of this video.
Exactly. So don't forget to open the video descriptions, check out the link, and check out the downloadable assets.
Now, there's a couple of little caveats I want to point out about this update. If you're using the depth of field, for example, in After Effects, if you have After Effects set to be the advanced 3D, After Effects Advanced 3D doesn't currently, as of this recording, or live, for those of you watching live, the advanced 3D doesn't have the ability to do depth of field, so the depth of field settings disappear from the camera. So you need to make sure you switch After Effects to Classic 3D in whatever comp you're using Geo in if you want depth of field, so you can actually have depth of field control. And the rigged animations, if you're seeing weirdness happening, it may be you have to have it has to be fully skinned models only. If you have skinned and non-skinned elements, things will be a little bit weird. But the fact that you get to do all this right inside After Effects and have it render nice and quick is a delight. And I have been having a ton of fun playing with Geo. I might play with some more stuff live on the stream a little bit later and show you some more things. But that's all I have prepared right now to show you.
Fantastic, Michael. Thank you so much for sharing with us, man. And by the way, I like the the audience just chime in. And for example, Corex just wrote in the chat, "It's my first time here, and I'm very happy to know that normal humans made Red Giant plugins." Wow,
it's very true. Like a lot of the folks that have been part of Red Giant for a very long time are still working at Red Giant, like Stu Maschwitz, who's been with Red Giant for a very long time. He's like the driving force behind a lot of our really great new things like Super Comp and Real Lens Flares, which I love both of those tools so much. They have like the Stu attention to detail is like all over them, and a lot of the new updates to Magic Bullet looks, which is something I use all the time, especially on top of my 3D renders. He has had a really heavy hand on that. So a lot of the old familiar Red Giant folks are still here, even though Red Giant's now part of Maxon. And it's still got that creative spark in the developers that's the thing that drew me to Red Giant in the first place as a user.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's the update. That's the Red Giant 2025 in the 3D simulations, 3D particle simulations department. And let's move into the new exciting update in Maxon Studio. And Alex, do you mind to tell us what's coming, what's new in this Red Giant 2025 and Maxon Studio?
I'm excited to do that. However, what if I say yes? So I'm going to take everybody on a little story journey here. So we've been collecting feedback since the Maxon Studio release. We had our first initial release in June, and since June we have been pumping updates over updates, and our backlog of capsules has grown. And we really monitor every single piece of feedback we receive from you. And I just want to talk about this story, kind of like this frustration that many of you have had, and we as well. And I'm pretty sure many of you have, work with templates or have built templates or, have been in an environment where you have to interact with many templates. And, you may import a template, you may open a template and you start customizing stuff. And there's really no way for you to iterate fast from there. It's basically the only way you could do it is just save additional project files, or basically just import everything and keep importing everything and kind of like share a very complex timeline trying to like iterate through them and so on. So it has been quite a frustration, and we have gathered your feedback regarding Maxon Studio as well. And for this release, for the 2025 release, we have shipped a complete new feature called presets. This feature allows you to basically customize your capsules the way you're liking and then immediately save them. So we have shipped 2 capsules to better showcase this feature. One of them is this one, flag. And as you can see, there's something new there. There's a lot of presets in here. And you can, normally apply a capsule the way you used to, but you can start applying a capsule directly with the presets. So I'm going to do that real quick. And it failed. All right. It might be because of my internet connection. All right. Never mind that. I had internet problems the entire day, so let me just do it from scratch then. Let's just apply a new capsule. And let's generate presets from scratch. So let's say you have like this background in here, and you may change the colors, and you want to now save this one as a pink background. So now under this 3 dots menu, you have a little button called Save as Presets. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to name this one, let's say, pink background. And from here, depending when you are in your timeline, so depending on your cursor in your timeline, you can generate a thumbnail for that preset. So now I'm going to press save. And now, again, under this 3 dot menu, you're going to get a new menu where you can see that the preset was saved. Let's save a bunch of other ones. Let's make the stars gold, yellow gold, and I don't know, let's make this, let's say, red. And let's say you want to save this one as a preset as well. So this one will be, I don't know, red, golden stars. So you save that. And again, they'll be available here under the select presets drop-down menu. But you can also use the new button that we have added on top of the thumbnails, which will directly send you to the details page. And here you're going to see 2 new buttons, 3 new buttons, but 2 new buttons that you can immediately interact with. One of them, we call it switch. So if you press it, your capsule immediately switches to that preset. And the other one is basically apply, but with that preset on top. You can also press this little 3 dot menu here, and you can, rename your preset. So if you want to spell background completely, you can do that. Another thing you can do here is basically delete it. So if you move it to trash, that will delete your preset from disk. Or if you want to share all of this customization with a friend or somebody from your team, or you just want to move things to another computer, then you just click Show in Finder. And actually, all you have to do is just grab this entire preset folder and paste it under the same location. It's basically documents, Maxon Studio presets. Or if you want specifically, you can copy them folder by folder or just preset by preset. As a quick tip, don't forget to grab the thumbnail. They'll be very handy for you to visually see how that preset looks like. So yeah, this is a big feature we've been working on based on your feedback. And again, we shipped these 2 new capsules. One of them flag, that comes with a lot of presets, and I'll talk at the end a little bit about a capsule. And the other one, it's a film burn title, which also comes with presets for you to try out and customize and play with things. Now, there's a lot more we have shipped in this release. Again, if you go in the edit page under the 3 dot menu, you can see a bunch of new stuff. one of them will be rename instance. So what does this do? Is basically it allows you to change the name of a capsule. So if I name this pink background, you can see it also changing the timeline, but also here. And this way, it's extremely easy to basically keep track visually on the capsule that you have been applied, and now you know exactly which one is. So you don't need to keep track of number as an instance and so on. You can duplicate them now. So that duplicate feature now, it'll duplicate the capsule with all the adjustments. So if I were to like change this one, let's say from, I don't know, pink to something, let's say brownish, and I'm gonna duplicate again, you can see that it kept all the adjustments I had and then duplicate that that instance. You can revert to default. So now it completely reverts it. And now I want to showcase how powerful is this new visually live thumbnail for keeping track on things. So actually, I'm just going to go here to motion graphics. I'm going to look, let's say for a social media. Let's pick this heart here with a count, just to showcase to you. So some of those capsules, they already come with animations, right? So some of them, may have a starting point, and you may not see anything on that frame. Now, all of the thumbnails now are rendering live from my composition, and to keep to basically strike a balance between you seeing something and you still having animation, we always look at the midpoint animation when having those thumbnails live. So if I have, let's say the social media here, if I were to rotate it, let's say that way, you can see now that my thumbnail lively changed. And if I were to move in my timeline, it definitely changed there too. So this, in combination with the ability to rename and give names to your capsules, it becomes a very powerful way to keep track on things. So we are very excited to see you playing with this one, and definitely let us know if you have any other feedback. So yeah, those are basically the major updates we had for Maxon Studio. And now let me go through the two new capsules. Let me delete this. So again, one of the capsules is the flag capsule. It's basically a flag generator. You can come in here and add more stripes and change colors, and there's a lot in here for you to play with and change the texture. Like for example, this is a canvas texture. Now again, all the Maxon Studio capsules, they're powered by Red Giant tools. So a lot of this customization may be familiar with the Red Giant tools you love to work with. So for example, this texture select here is coming from texturized motion. So if I were to, let's do fuzzy, and now it becomes fuzzy, and maybe I want a marker texture, or maybe I just want, I don't know, fabric. So now I'm getting a fabric texture. So you can definitely generate, your own flag this way, and play with things and so on. You can use our presets. So you can easily switch through these presets, and it will change the flag. Or if you really want to dig deeper, you can also just dig deeper. So let me make this 1 to 2 to 1. Let me change the brightness and contrast here. Let's do it that way. So you can dig deeper here. You follow the annotation and you get to the right composition. And maybe you just want to have a Superman logo in the middle. Let's make it 50% so we can see the logo. Actually make it a bit smaller. And now, as you can see, I have a Superman flag. Now, again, you get a lot of customization here, so you're going to have to play with it to better fit your adjustments and the outcomes you want. So if you want, let's say, less displacement map, then now you get less displacement map, and you got a Superman flag here. This is one of them. The second one will be the film burn title. Let me just disable that here. And let me just search for it because it's easier that way. Let me apply. So this is a film burn title. for your next video. And again, you can come in here and type, I don't know, Michael. Whoops. Michael Maximus. There you
Thank
go.
you, Stu.
And your entire title will change based on that. Whatever you may input here, maybe you want the color of the text to be something different, maybe you don't want to be red. You can come within here and start customizing some of the fractal types here. And again, these are powered by Red Giant tools. You can increase the complexity. You can start playing with the edges. Maybe you want the hue of your edge to be something different. So if I change this, now it becomes like this greenish stuff. And again, you have a lot of customization here. I was basically looking to add enough for you to play with. But if you do desire to dig deeper, then you can do that. And instead of using our capsules as for what they're meant to, which in here is just a Filmbird title, let me just revert it to default because I made an abomination here. But you can use it for text, definitely, but you can also use it as a transition because those capsules are somewhat parametric. So now if I wanted my footage to transition, then I can definitely do that. And I can transition in and out of my footage here. So yeah, we are looking forward, again, to your feedback. We're looking forward to see what you think about presets overall as a system, and also the additional features that we added to ease your user experience with Maxon Studio. And also, I want to mention that this IBC, in the first day, we had the opportunity to bring Andy, he's a fantastic artist. He's an amazing motion graphics designer, and he's very knowledgeable about After Effects. And Andy has showcased the create process of Maxon Studio. That's again another big feature that a lot of you has been asking us for. And at IBC, we basically wanted to hold that presentation to showcase to you that it is work in progress, and we do listen to you. We listen to your feedback, and we are just excited as you to release it. But we also have used that presentation to kind of like showcase why it's not ready yet and why it's not out yet. So if you have the time, if you have the chance, please go to, I believe, Maxon YouTube channel. Michael, please correct me if I'm wrong. And look at IBC Day 1. And it should be the first presentation with Andy.
Exactly. I think you can just go to YouTube and type in Maxon VFX, and I think you'll see the IBC Day 1 2024, and you'll be able to see that, the presentation from Andy Needham.
Cool. And that's everything from me, Max.
That is so cool, Alex. I can't imagine how many like people who's working with broadcasters like very happy about this. Just imagine if you have like a team match for particular sports, and you can just create the flags from each team and save it as a preset and call it upon request, just like that, very fast.
Yeah, we want to empower everybody to iterate as fast as possible.
Absolutely. By the way, Michael, we have a questions in the forum, sorry, in the questions, sorry, in the chat. That's the word, the chat.
Yes.
Andres was asking, what are the difference between the tools that is available inside Trapcode? Because
I mean, yes, that's a very good question.
That's a very good question from Andres. Yeah.
They all have different features. Okay, so here's the thing: if you want particles that are going to be born, and then they're going to do something and then pass away, or that are going to be doing a lot of dynamic things like chasing other particles around. The flocking stuff in Trapcode Particular is one of my favorite things for doing like organic reveals and stuff. But if you want stuff that's going to be born, do something, and then pass away, or have a lot of dynamic interactions and physics stuff, then you're going to want Trapcode Particular. Trapcode Particular also has all the Trapcode form behaviors in it. So form is a particle system where particles just live eternally. So they're just there, and then they move depending on what you want to do. You can drive them, their position, their scale, their rotation, their color, like all kinds of stuff, or their opacity with layer maps. So any of your other layers in After Effects, whether a single layer or a pre-comp, can drive the parameters of these particles. So form is for everlasting, eternal particles that just kind of sit there, maybe have some more subtle movement or some animation to the individual, on the individual particles. Particular has that feature set fully inside of it with layer maps and everything, but with the ability to also then spawn other particles off of it. I will often use form behaviors in Particular because I want particles spewing from a grid of areas. So I'll have one emitter that's just like a square. Here, I can show you. Hang on, let me pop back into After Effects real quick. Let me see here. If I go into my Trapcode Particular here, into the designer. Anyway, so Trapcode Particular, Trapcode Form are for particles. Geo is for 3D models that have lighting, shadows, reflections, that sort of thing. Because Particular just spews out sprites, so it just spews out images. It doesn't spew out anything that like renders. Now there's some sort of shadowing stuff you can get in Particular, kind of like cheated, but for like more fully 3D stuff, that's what you want Geo for. Mirror is very similar to Geo, but it has some more abstract stuff in it for getting really cool abstract shapes and whatnot. But anyway, let me go back to my presets here. Basics. Well, let's just do a clean start here. And I'll talk about how you might want to use form behaviors inside Particular, because it's one of my favorite things that got added recently. Well, relatively recently. So I'm going to say I want a box emitter, and I want it to be classic form, and I'm going to want it to be, say, on a grid. And then I'm going to say I want just one particle in Z. Let's do, I don't know, 5 by 5. So now I've got this kind of grid of particles here. I'm going to give them, let's say, random colors. Let's do, I don't know, random from gradient. We'll just do that. So we've got kind of these particles here, and now I can say I want another system. And this system is going to be spewing from that parent system. I want to say, hey, you will be, actually, I don't need to mess with that. I'll just say inherit your color from the parents. And so now I've got, those particles spewing out. Let me make this system a little bit bigger here. And then I'm going on this system here. I'm going to go into my simulations here and turn on, let's say, flocking. And then in my environment here, let's just do some kind of turbulent position movement. So what that's going to end up happening is those particles then kind of, clump around and do all the fun particle things. Let me hide those blocks real quick. Let me get into the flocking. I want to say, hey, no separation, higher alignment. Let's say here. And let's say fewer of them because it's kind of a messy bunch of them. So I'm going to say we don't need quite as many of you per second. And then, so now we've got these particles that are kind of seeing each other and kind of trying to go be with their friends and kind of group up in the center there. What's real fun, let me turn this up a little bit more. I'll go into my flocking and say, hey, you can't really see around you very far. So now they're only going to see ones that are right close to them. I'll put the alignment up some here. So they can't, when you change their field of view, they can only see, straight in front of them. So you end up with a little more, not all the particles head towards the middle because they can't see that there's particles behind them. So now you get kind of this more flowing stuff. But anyway, the point is, I've got a grid now of, 5 by 5. I have 25 emitters, all just in one emitter. Like it gives you a huge amount of power. But anyway, that's a very long way of saying the way that you know which one you want is just Particular spews out particles. Form has everlasting particles. But if you want fully rendered 3D models, then you're going to want Geo. If you want some kind of more abstract, gritty, grid-y, like shapes, Trapcode Mirror is great for that. If you want to drive your animations with audio, Trapcode Sound Keys is amazing for that task. And then and 3D Stroke is just a quick way to just populate a bunch of strokes in your scene. While we're on my screen here, let's go here. I wanted to show you kind of from scratch how to do something in another new feature of Geo I neglected to mention earlier. So to show it off, I need a model that you can actually see rotation on. So let's pick, I don't know, let's pick something rotatable. We could just do that, or we could do maybe this one here. We'll do this one. And we'll make this model just a wee bit smaller. And we'll give it some color because that white color is boring. Make this one pinky. Then we'll make. Well, we're gonna be cloning it. So let's get some different colors going on for our cloners here. Make this one kind of an orange color. I said orange. And then we'll get, I don't know, we'll probably should do like a cyan. I think would go well with those two. So like a cyan one just real quick. All right, so we got our materials. So we go into our cloner and we'll say enable cloner. So we got a bunch of clones there. Let's make more clones. And more clones. And then we'll say, hey, let's use all 3 materials, please. And we'll spread out the cloner size somewhat. Actually, we don't want to uniform size. I want to spread them out this way. And so you know what? Let's make none on Z. We'll just have like a little grid there. And so under the clone transforms, again, this is where you could do the offset to get that honeycomb pattern if you wanted. But I don't. The other new feature that I want to talk about is this right here. So when you rotate, you notice the middle ones. Here, let me make an even or an odd number so you get the one in the middle. When you do this clone rotation, here in the cloner settings, it rotates them differently. See, the ones on the outside are rotating a lot more than the ones in the middle, which aren't rotating at all. If you want to just rotate the clones, you just go back up here to your main rotation setting. That'll rotate all of them at the same amount under just your basic model settings. But if you want to get some really cool like cascading effects, you've got this. What has been added is this transform ramp. So you can go into the negative on this one. And so you'll notice now the ones on the end aren't rotating at all, but the ones in the middle are doing more rotating. That's another very handy new feature that's right there. Now this this project file, simple as it is, not available for download because I just made it now. So it's not part of the download link, but why would you want it anyway? It's boring, and you can create it in like literally 5 minutes, as I just did. So just watch this again in slow mo if you need to see how to do it. So yeah, there's another new feature I neglected to mention earlier. But now from scratch, how to do some fun things.
There you go. Thank you, Michael.
Welcome.
Max, do you think you can switch to me to After Effects? Because
Absolutely.
Well, Michael was talking about the difference between form and particular.
I see that you're cooking something. Yeah.
It basically reminded me of something, and I really like the way Michael pointed things out. So this kind of like reminded me of a little project that I was working on, which is basically just like this, I don't know, cyberpunkish HUD thing. But just because particular is made for particle simulation, it's great at that, and form also like dips its toe within like particle simulation and working with particles and so on, and it's very great at that. It doesn't mean those tools are meant just for that. Those tools can enable you to like create outside outside those areas. So for example, in this footage here, I have used form to basically like fast clone those HUD elements here in the background because I believe both share the same sprites browser. Michael will be able to talk more in depth about that. But basically, both of those products have like this sprites browser, and you get a lot of sprites there, and some of them are animated, which is great. And I pretty much just use form for that, just to like clone a bunch of sprites and get fast a HUD element, and it's really that easy. If I switch here, I have form apply here, and I don't think I need that many particles here. Maybe I need 10 by 10. Let me just make it a little bit bigger so we can see stuff. And then when you go down to particle type, you can switch to sprite. And from here, I think you're not seeing my browser, but trust the process. So let me just scroll down real quick.
Yes, there is there is a browser window there that's not being shared. But I will say one of the very, I think, underlooked features of Trapcode Particular and Form is the sprite list. There's a huge amount of sprites available for you to have your particles have all kinds of different cool shapes and looks and stuff. And man, I wish people used it more. Of course, you can make your own custom ones too, which is great.
Definitely. And also Form, it allows you to like randomize this the sprites and kind of like play with them and so on. So I basically just love this product, particularly that it allows me to fast iterate and fast generate stuff like HUD elements, even though it's made for particles. So yeah, just wanted to point that out.
So there you go. You can actually use everything to create something totally new. All right. Let me take your screen back, Alex. And I want to explain, I want to introduce you guys to the new tool that Red Giant released in this 2025. So, apart from updating our existing tools, there's also one little tool that is squeezed into the release and shipped as a new tools, and that tool is the tool that you probably want to use whenever you are finishing your project or making your project way much more beautiful than before. And this is the color tool, and it's available in at the moment it is available in After Effects and Premiere Pro, but it will also come up into a different host as well. So the new tool is called the Parametric Curve. The idea of Parametric Curve is it is a supercharged versions of a curve tool. So for example, here we have like the old curve tools, and as you can see, we can like create a point and we can draw an S shape. But this tool is also like very finicky to play around, and sometimes if I just want to change something in the middle, you can really see that things on the lower end and the higher end is also got interacted with, and sometimes that's the effect that you don't want. If you just, for example, want to tweak the shoulder of a curve, or if you want to deepen the shadow just slightly without affecting the midtones, and it's a very time-consuming process to keep creating a new how do you call it, sample points, and then drive them. And with that in mind, Maxon Red Giant created a new tool called Parametric Curve. And what's nice with this Parametric Curve is that it's also available as a how do you call it, floating overlay. So you have like an overlay that you can see in the control panel, but you can also activate the show overlay so you can interact right away with the curve. And if you can see here, let me make it bigger slightly. And you have the options to create up to 5 sample points. And this 5 sample points, apart from you can just drag and draw a curve on your monitor right away, what you can do, you can also type in the exact value for this exact sample point. And what is nice as well is that I don't know if you can really see it in my screen, but there is like a dotted line right on top of the curve. So if I move it somewhere here, I don't know. There you see. There you go. There are some dotted lines on top of the curve. It means that the curve is also taking the value above 1 into considerations. So the HDR values in this case is also can be driven by this curve. And the way that you can use this curve, apart from like your normal color corrections, like creating a split tone, for example, this curve can be used in a totally different manner. So for example, if I want to showcase something, so one thing that you can use to use this curve is to how do you call it? Is to sandwich your color corrections and done it in a more sophisticated way. So like this is a Colorista, your normal color correction tools. And if you can see, like this is a image that is already in the Rec 709. It is already in the display space. And if we are going to increase the temperature or reduce the temperature, we have that kind of like result, right? But we can make this result way much more different or unique or beautiful using the parametric curve. So let me show you that. So for example, if I am drag and dropping parametric curve on my ECW, and let me just disable my colorista and put my parametric curve on top. And here, if we draw the S curve, like the tone map curve that we normally have in our Rec 709 image. And one thing that I haven't shown you before is that the parametric curve has this power to give you the inverse curve. So it can give you like the exact inverse of the curve that you're drawing. So for example here, what we can do, we can duplicate this curve, right? And we will use the second curve, and we will use the inverse. So for example here, if we click inverse, so basically what we are doing is that we are applying this tone curve, and then we also apply the inverse of that curve. So when we are using, if I am going to enable and disable this two curve, nothing is visible, because we're just like round tripping our image. But if we are doing our color corrections in between those curves, like for example, if we are going to tweak the temperature, like here, just a slight warming up the image. And before, if we are going to disable the curve, you can really see that we are getting way much more photometrically beautiful temperature change using this curve. And this is just another example. One other example is that you can use exactly the same principle to spice up your compositions. So for example, let me show you something with Maxon Studio. So for example, if I am going to use some capsules from Maxon Studio, let's browse for something that is cool. Like for example, this one. Let's pick this one. This is my favorite one. Right. Give it a time to populate it, and I don't need my footage anymore. So let me just delete that. Alrighty, so we have our capsules, and let's change a little bit. And instead of Maxon Studio, let's type in Parametric. And here at the bottom, curve, right? So all right. So I think that's it. We won't need Maxon Studio now. Right. What we can do now is that let's create a new adjustment layer. And let's just put it on top. And here, let's create the parametric curve. And here, again, I'm going to draw exactly the S curve that we are using before at the top. And I'll just duplicate this, Command D. And at the bottom, I will use the inverse curve, right? So we're actually not doing anything. So let me just rename this curve inverse. And the other one is curve. Oh, what's happening here? All right, let me delete that again. Alex, do you know why my comp is going crazy? Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna need to. I was building something in the background for the parametric curve, so sorry for.
No problem, man. So let me rename this one as curve. Sorry, guys, bear with me with this one. And here we are going to use the curve to just simply draw a simple S-curve. And from here, we will duplicate. Hey, what's happening?
You double click the layer. So if you go back to your comp.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm going to duplicate this one. Command D. And here we'll rename it as inverse. And in between, if we are going to create another, where is it? There you go. Let's create new adjustment layer in between. And here, if we are going to use a glow effect or effects that playing with lights, you will see that the result will be like fantastically amazing. So for example, here, let me just drag and drop Trapcode Shine and just drag the directions somewhere over there. So if you are going to pay attention, if I'm going to disable and enable the parametric curve that is sandwiching these effects, you can really see that we have way much more softer effects than before, and we have way brighter and vivid effects with our glow with using shine. So that is parametric curve. And by the way, if you are curious about this setup and if you want to play around with this, this particular scene is available for download. So you can also check the video descriptions and download the downloadable scenes. And that brings us to our conclusions. So those
Max,
are, yeah, Alex.
Sorry for interrupting. Can you switch back to me real quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let me bring your screen to stage. There you go.
Cool, thank you. So, just like previously, I love Red Giant tools because they kind of like enable me to do things and kind of like explore. And I really love that, you know, they're not forcing me, oh, you can only do this one thing or you can only do that one thing. And, you know, I'm no colorist here. Max is definitely the right guy to talk to about that. But what you can do with Astro Parametric Curve, especially if you like to work with the motion graphic designs in After Effects and so on, is that the tool has those control points, right? So you can control those basically and kind of like give it like have a little more control over the Beziers and so on, and add more points if you want to add more points and kind of like play with those things, and not only like manipulate the colors on your footage, but you can also take advantage of this and with some expressions here and there. I'm not going to bore anybody about them right now. You can actually drive colors based on your ball position. So now my ball can change colors depending where I move it. So that's basically another thing that I really love about this tool, is that now it enabled me to create motion graphics and animate even faster. That's something you can also like experiment and play with and see what you come up with, and definitely reach out to us, and we are very curious to see if you find other ways to play with parametric curve.
So one way to reach out to us. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, if you want to stop my screen for a second, I had one more thing I wanted to show too.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was just about to mention that one way to reach out to us is to write us an email at training@maxon.net. But if you want to, is there any other method that you want the audience to reach out to you guys? If they have
they can
any
always
more
ping.
questions?
They can always ping Maxon Red Giant on social media.
Absolutely.
Like, ask a question if you like. and you should definitely follow every Tuesday, almost every Tuesday. We post 2 tips on the Red Giant social media channels about, it could be any one of the tools. It could be some of the color grading stuff. It could be some of the Trapcode stuff. It could be some universe editing tips. But there's some tips and tricks that's been going on for a couple years now. So if you search Tip Tuesday on the Red Giant social media channels, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, yes, I said Twitter, you'll find a ton of tips on there. So make sure you follow us there if you're using any of the Red Giant tools, because there may be a tip in there that could change your life. You never know.
So you mentioned Twitter, but are we on X, Michael?
Yes.
I'm joking.
You're on X.
I'm joking.
I hate calling it that.
All right, Michael, the floor is yours, man. Your
All right,
long
so
haired
if you're our loggerhead sea turtle from Digital Life 3D, it's from Sketchfab, lovely 3D model. If you download from them, you should credit them because the artists do great work. Any hoozles, here we have that same turtle right inside After Effects using Red Giant Geo. I've got it comped into this like seawater scene, and it's right there. Let me just solo their geo layer here so you can kind of see it. It comes with texture maps and stuff. You just drop them in there, and we've got our animated model right here. I mean, look, it's rendering real fast. It's great. Love it. So yes, FBX animated skinned models also working in Geo. I want to make sure I showed that to you before we headed out.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
You're welcome.
So there you go, guys. Those are the new features. Those are the new features at for Red Giant, and also 1 new tools at Red Giant. So give them a spin and let us know. Don't forget also, if you have any questions, write us at training@maxon.net. And also don't forget to get your free t-shirt. The link is in the chat, and the code for today is happy updating. So don't forget, get your free t-shirt, right? And if you want to play around and explore the scenes that Michael, been using in this sessions, you can always download them in the video descriptions. Go to the video description. There's a link. You probably may want to fill in your name and your email, and then you'll be able to download them. And that's it, guys. If you want to watch the recording of this one, go to YouTube and type in Maxon Training Team, and it will be hosted there. And I am Max, a trainer for Maxon, and this has been my favorite human being, Alex and Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Somewhere here are my hands. I'm waiting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Until we see again in another Create with Maxon. Bye-bye. Take care.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye.